Welcome back to the Talk at Elevation. Today's guest is James Wagenschutz, performance coach, consultant, and high performance strategist with more than 2 decades of experience across sports science, coaching, education, and leadership. James has worked inside elite systems like U.S. Soccer and now helps coaches, leaders, executives, and organizations connect human performance with strategy, individually, and long-term growth. His work blends analytic thinking with deep listening and big picture perspectives. Today, we're going to learn about that depth of experience and how that shapes and leads him into his performance. All right, so parents, you know how hard your athlete works and how much it means for them to be seen. Fan Day Nation gives them the confidence, visibility, and support they deserve. Don't let their moment pass by. Please give them a future that they'll remember forever at fandaynation.com.
And if you're still hunting for the perfect holiday gift, Nico Stones has bold, beautiful jewelry for everyone. Chains and bracelets that shine under the tree and all year round. Find your sparkle at nicostones.com. Nico Stones, give a gift that wins.
All right, James, thank you so much for joining us today. We're so excited to have you on the show.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Glad to be here.
Yeah.
So you've worked across coaching, sports science, education, consulting. When you step back, what's the unifying philosophy that connects it for you?
At the end of the day, we're talking about human development. And I think the reality of humans in different contexts all kind of have a baseline needs, and their needs want to be met in various domains. And we all want to achieve. I think humans are kind of designed, wired to achieve something in their lives.
Right. Keep them sane.
Keep them sane, yeah. I think really just the idea that as people get into sport, like let's take sport as a context, they want to know that they can achieve something to feel like part of their identity has been validated by the work they put in. Mm-hmm. And I think that the sports science and education help provide the tools and resources for the coaches, the parents, to help those athletes on their journey.
That's awesome.
Absolutely. So you emphasize listening and understanding people's stories as a performance tool. How did that become such a central part of your approach?
There's a concept called motivational interviewing, where in many ways we use the person speaking as their story and asking more questions that go deeper, which allows that individual, just kind of similar to here, to go deeper into that person's thought process, their identity, what they're really after, which creates a deeper connection. So with that deeper connection, we can have deeper reflection, and with deeper reflection becomes a deeper understanding of who they are, which then we can use that to help unlock their potential.
But why is it so important for the audience to see that deeper person and get connected with them?
Well, if we put it in the context of, let's say, a coach working with an athlete, the coach wants to know who that athlete is, where they come from, maybe what makes them tick. And that's really going to be surrounded by their environment at home.
Yeah.
And we want to allow that athlete to express themselves, be vulnerable, and share about themselves without fear of repercussion. And that requires listening, and that requires being present with those athletes.
For sure.
How did you start that into your approach? How did you make that such a prominent feature of it?
Well, luckily, I've been coaching for a long time and get exposed to different educators, different psychologists, different people in the world that have already learned how to do that. And I got exposed to those tools as part of my own journey in development.
Heck yeah. With experience in both elite sports and business leadership, what do you see as the biggest misconception about high performance?
Yeah, when you guys proposed that question, I was thinking a lot about like what do I think is the misconception that I think that people may think it's elusive for them when it's not. That high performance can actually happen every day in everybody's home and everybody's lives. And that we think that it's only earmarked for people at a C-suite level in business or only earmarked for pro sports or pro teams. And what I mean by that is if someone is in a really good place and they feel calm, they might be able to articulate themselves really well. That means that the other person might be able to hear them and understand them and articulate back what is being said. That is a form of high performance. We just have this high notion that it's somebody making a particular action on a sporting field or an arena or on a court in a moment. And that is high performance under pressure. But that also happens when you're in a domain like being in a house, being in a youth team, being in a collective group of coaches. That also can have high performance synergy within it.
Yeah. So you're saying I performed just as well as Patrick Mahomes before he got hurt. That's what you're saying.
Basically what you're saying.
There might be some performance metrics associated with high performance. Like there might be some outcomes. And so you might have some outcomes associated with what you're doing, and people would then be able to rate you and measure you against those metrics, which you would then say is either elite, average, good, better, or worse relative to somebody else in your domain.
Is there a way you can like recognize that that was a high performance moment for yourself, or is it kind of just what happens and you're in that flow and then it's over?
Yeah, flow is an interesting word, and I think sometimes it can be overused. But there's some real science behind flow. It's also comes and goes, and I think that people need to pay attention to the flow state requires a lot more than just what people may think on the surface level. And so I would offer that high performance is available for anybody. And so going back to the original question, performance in sport, I think anybody can access it if they're open to it.
Yeah, for sure.
That's first step for sure.
Yeah. So you blend data analysis, intuition, and individuality. How do you know when to lean into numbers and when to trust that human side?
I had a conversation earlier today with a gentleman, and we were talking more or less about objective references, objective assessment, objective data, to then how do you navigate the human within all of it? And one of the things that I think I can use, like I'll give you an example. My intuition is based a lot about my experiences in life. And I've been fortunate enough to travel the world, and I have seen the poorest of the poor in the world, and I've seen the elite, rich, mega wealthy of the world, and everything in between on 5 continents. And I think that gives me an insight unparalleled with other people that allows me to tap into those experiences when I need to in those moments. I can then do that if I have good, solid references to back it up. And those references are the data, the analysis. If we want to get really technical and start talking about the data and how it's being filtered and if it's actually valid, reliable, and consistent. But that's a topic for maybe another time. The reality is if I have good data and I have a good understanding of certain knowledges, then I can use my intuition, my gut feeling, which is probably right based upon my experiences to make an assessment about what I'm doing and what I'm saying to whoever's in front of me.
That's awesome. You've learned a lot, obviously, from those experiences. I mean, 5 continents, you can learn everything.
No, I've got way more to go.
I mean, not everything, but a lot. Like, most people never even leave their small town. So there you go.
There is. But at the same time, the people in the small town have experiences, the depth of their experiences, the quality of those experiences might be really deeper than mine. So I might have had an interaction in a foreign country that lasted 2 minutes, which was really powerful, but it was 2 minutes. So it may not be super, super deep, whereas we're talking about the quality and quantity of experiences. And I think, wrapped up in this overall conversation, we're talking about an athlete and the player. They have to have high quality and high quantity experiences. And in my observation, what I see, which may be jumping ahead to one of your questions, players they have a high quantity but low quality experiences. That doesn't create a ton of quality reference points for them to speak objectively when they think about either promoting themselves or actually saying, I'm a high performance, I'm an elite athlete. Not really. Not really. And when we talk about elite athlete, we're talking Olympics, Pat Mahomes, and of the like. The rest is for the masses.
There we go. After 25 years of coaching, what beliefs about performance and leadership have you kind of had to let go?
What if I had to let go?
Like as you've grown, changed, the world's changed, media, all that.
Trying to be right. Trying to predict the outcome and trying to force the outcome.
Have you tripped on a couple things that you've done trying to do that, and it's
every day?
Yeah.
Every day, because my brain gets wired on the data, it gets wired on the knowledge and the references provided, that if I don't zoom out fast enough, I'll then be too narrowed focus on that, and then I'll think A is going to lead to B. So I have to zoom out really fast and go, let's ensure that I have a good process here. Let's ensure it's founded on good principles, and then what comes.
Yeah.
And that's tough to let go.
That is.
For sure.
So with letting things go, what are some new things that you've implemented?
New things that I've implemented with other people or with myself?
I guess within yourself, maybe, with just the times changing, stuff that you're like, yeah, this is very important to the data. This is important to the performance in, being elite.
My performance has improved when I stop doing things and I build in time blocks to do nothing.
Okay.
So truly building in time blocks in my schedule. There's no email, there's no phone call, there's no work email, there's just sitting.
A work-life balance.
No, I don't believe in balance. I actually believe in going all in on doing something and giving 100% of my best effort toward it, but then shutting down. And I think the little tiny bit I know about neuroscience will support this idea of time and space between the time we're concentrating on something. We need space to not even just decompress, but just not do anything.
Yeah.
So the word I think about is idling, like just sitting and idling. You could start to talk about meditation, et cetera. But for me, I believe I've become a better high performer when I have absolutely nothing to do.
Wow, that's so interesting. How often do you just do nothing? Just sit there?
Every day.
Every day.
It's cool. That's become a new trend on TikTok and Instagram too. These people sit there and they're like, all right, 15 minutes, no phone, no communication, nothing. And some people can't do it. They can't even do it. They get so in their head, start thinking about everything. They can't even sit with their own thoughts.
Yeah.
But meditation will tell you that's actually what you do in meditation is you sit with your own thoughts, but you allow them to come and go rather than to hold on to them. And that is the beginning of learning how to do meditation. And so when people say they can't do it, that's a process. That in itself shows that they need that time and space to just sit.
Yeah.
Just be there.
When did you start doing that, and how long after did you realize it actually helped you a lot?
I've probably been doing it the whole time. I just never, I never systematically did it.
Yeah.
And this last fall was a great kind of moment where it was like, I got to stop. I got to just pause more into my life.
Right. Kind of take it in. Smell the roses.
A bit more.
A bit more. Well, let's dive in. So you working both inside a large system like U.S. Soccer and independently as a performance coach. What differences have stood out to you the most?
Big organizations move slow. Performance coaches that are independent can move a little bit quicker and more nimble.
Interesting. You'd think it'd be switched almost, like big corporations are quick, fast.
Not if it's done by committee.
Well, there you go.
Not if things are done by committee. People want to feel productive. They want to feel like they're contributing to a larger cause. And in a big cog, and U.S. Soccer currently is a massive cog, especially with the move headquarters to Atlanta, the Men's World Cup coming up in 26, the Women's World Cup coming up. It's a massive cog, and that creates layers of people, that creates layers of language that could potentially be confusing for people who are coming from different experiences and they're trying to learn that language. So then you attend a meeting to learn, this is what we're doing. But you could walk into that meeting, learn new language or hear new language, but not really learn it and walk out and go, I just wasted an hour because I don't understand anything. And now you're not being productive to the company and you need time to reflect and think about that language that was just presented. And what we're seeing more and more in businesses these days, as layers are added and people are choosing either to join or not, the cog of the big system, unless there's redundancies are removed, unless you have direct access to the people who can make decisions quickly, it becomes much slower. And in my experience as a performance consultant, working with either business leaders, sporting organizations, or head coaches, once I get to know these people, I can move really fast and we can move much quicker through the systems. And so what I think about is trying to accelerate development and accelerate learning so we can move past things that are perhaps mundane or rote.
That makes sense.
Well said. So you're developing a peer-to-peer connection group for dads.
Yep.
What problem are you trying to solve and how is that working and how is it important to you?
It's important to me because I'm a dad. I have two kids, and it's important to me because as I'm getting older, and I like to think I'm maturing, and I like to think that I'm getting wiser, I find that the connection among men at my age, which is almost 50, is less and less. And unless it's through perhaps through our children or through perhaps churches or other organizations, we're not doing a great enough job of fostering an opportunity for men to connect with men. And specifically coaches. Coaches have egos. We all have egos.
Yeah.
Right.
Depending upon the level of success of the coach, they might think they have a big ego or not. And that gets in the way of interference of connecting with other men and being vulnerable and sharing stories. And it doesn't have to be woo-woo and touchy-feely. It can be more activity-based, exercise-based. But it's really an opportunity for sport coaches to share commonality with other sport coaches and share their commonalities about being a dad and not creating any buffers in the way of conversations. So it's not like I'm competing against them in any way. We're here to support each other, and most of the time it's just through listening and creating questions for them to think deeper about their experience as a coach and a dad.
So tell me about how this kind of came about. When were you're sitting on the couch, you're like, wow, yep, this is going to happen.
When did it come about? Well, I would say it came about, and then I don't think it came about consciously during the pandemic, but I think it came about unconsciously during the pandemic when we had to problem solve and solution so many different things remotely and with distancing. And I think there was a lot of opportunity to connect with people, but not in a way that was meaningful. It was connect to solve problems. And so I was working for an MLS team, and we had to go through all the medical protocols and all the, but still actually work on player development and try to produce players for the first team. And what I was hearing and seeing from parents, from kids, there was disconnect in conversations about next path forward. And what I also saw during that time were obviously massive concerns for the kids during the pandemic and making sure that they were going to come out healthy. But I saw the dads also starting to disconnect from the realities of player development. And so I think that was, 5 years now again? Almost 6 years ago already?
Wow.
That's not real.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah, I feel like the pandemic just changed so much of how we communicate now, and just I feel like we're on our phones all the time, and nobody's really connecting as much as they should be.
And like you said, it does come into that ego thing, and it's like, well, why do I gotta talk to this guy? I already know what I'm talking about. And everyone just thinks they know everything in the world. So I think that's super important. Like you said, those, even if it's like playing pickup basketball or those church groups or something like that, human connection is so important to performance, to being a human.
Well, and on the man side, we think we can solve things. I mean, really, if we go back to the beginning of dawn, really, when we think about man's biology, we are to hunt, provide, protect, feed our families. And if we can't solve those, then we are inept. And we are not living up to our status quo as a man. And I think there's a lot of shift in the world toward that's no longer the concept of a man, but yet it's not something we can rid ourselves either. So what I would want is for a community of men, and it doesn't matter if it's through a sport or we live on the same block together, but think about how many men do you see with kids having them play street pickleball or street baseball or street basketball with each other anymore. Everything's gone organized. Everything has gone through structure and disconnect. The layers of communication rather than an authentic, I'm going to pick you up and meet you on the street. And I think that's really kind of where I would like to get to, or at least charge the men out there listening to try and be more authentic and not worry about trying to connect through all these other layers.
For sure. Yeah, that's super important. So for anyone listening, like coaches and leaders or parents, what's one shift they could make today that would lead to more sustainable growth and better performance?
Yeah, I was thinking about the question about performance of the child or performance of the coach.
Let's do both. Yeah. Throw them both in there.
For any parent listening, let go of your child's outcome. Let go of trying to solve their future. Be a guide. Be a sage on the side. The guide on the side. Love them. And in the car ride home, tell them you love watching them play.
There you go.
Yeah,
That's it.
That's it.
That's it. And for the coach, it's a similar process, which is, especially if you're working with youth. And we talk about player development, long-term athlete development doesn't stop at 18, even though all the research only goes to 18. you guys are athletes. You're athletes for life. So
Yeah.
act like an athlete. Treat yourself like an athlete for life.
Mm-hmm.
And if you shift that way of thinking, I'm still an athlete, I can be an athlete. I may not be able to be Patrick Mahomes level elite athlete at the level.
But I can do it at my house. So
But you can do it at your house.
Exactly.
As a coach, just reduce the noise of your ego relative to the outcome of your players, that they have individual journeys, they have individual paths, and they have individual desires, and you have to tap in and listen to what they want and foster an environment that maximizes what they want, not maximize what you want as a coach.
Or a parent.
Or a parent.
Yeah.
That's a big one. Comes down to it. Parents try to live through their kids, and then
Unfortunately, that is a reality in many pockets of the world. And if we could reduce the noise around that and actually amplify the kid's voice, we'd be in a much healthier world.
For sure.
I agree.
Yeah.
All right, super cool question for you. How do you want to be remembered?
I don't.
Forget about me.
Don't?
No, I mean, I don't. I think that my kids will remember me. Other people remember that I did something good for the environment, which is connected to the people in the environment and connected to perhaps maybe the sport at this moment in time. But beyond that, no.
All right, fair enough.
Yeah.
Very
well,
humble.
James, thank you so much for being with us today and talking about your life. Where can people find you and find you online or want to follow your journey a little bit more?
Yeah, I'm on LinkedIn most often and growing on Instagram and X as I start to navigate those waters.
Yeah.
Yeah, those would probably be the place.
What's
to
your
check out.
handle? Is it just your name?
Yeah.
Is it okay?
Yeah, you can
Perfect.
just find me, James Wagenschutz. Yeah.
Sounds good. All right.
Perfect.
Well,
All
thanks
right.
so much, you guys, and we'll see you next time.
See you back at the talk.